Kevin Durant is 100% right, and I'm part of the problem.
Get that stuff out of here! It's Southwest Bias!
It's Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at Branded Bills. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Use promo code PHNX when you buy your first purchase and get 20% off. And I don't know what NBA fans were expecting from NBA All-Star Weekend. I don't know why they expect this great competitive thing from an exhibition season. To me, an exhibition game and expecting that feels so much like somebody going on Tinder and then getting upset that nobody's really looking for a serious relationship. They're just looking to have fun. The All-Star Weekend is simply that. Pageantry, pomp, and circumstance about the NBA. It's not about competitive basketball. It's never been about competitive basketball. I'm sorry if you're nostalgic for the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, but go back and watch those All-Star games. Most of them are 3.5 quarters of guys not playing any defense, of crazy dunks, and not competitive basketball. Then they lock in for the final half a quarter to try to make it competitive because their egos take over. That's the way the game's always been. And I don't know why we expect anything different. I can hear your All-Star Saturday night complaints. We haven't had stars in the dunk contest in a long time. All right, the three-point contest has been hit or miss. And the skills competition, well, that's become a joke. Maybe it was always a joke. But when you have Victor Wembanyama and CP3 trying to game the rules to win, you know what we're dealing with, right? But Kevin Durant tweeted yesterday about the All-Star game and said, I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than to actually watch it. Crazy. Cancel All-Star Weekend and let's just give everybody a break since we're so miserable around this time. I get it. My point is fans complain about everything. Like nothing is good enough for the fans right now. The only thing that's enjoyable is the playoffs, trade deadline, free agency, and when players beef with each other. I don't think he's wrong. I think we've become very accustomed to the drama. And I'm part of the problem. I've done it, both as a fan and as a media member. Because sometimes when the basketball isn't very good, the drama is a hell of a lot more fun. And when everybody wants to talk about that, that's what you gravitate towards. But I get Katie's point. We're not paying a lot of attention to the basketball at those times. And that's problematic. The NBA's problem with All-Star Weekend is in part that people actually, for some reason, are paying attention to the basketball during the All-Star game when they aren't on a regular basis because they're expecting something of great value in the All-Star game because it's the top players. But what you don't realize is that this isn't a vacation for them. It's business, and it's hectic in that weekend. And it's a lot of work and commitment that they put into it. Media events, sponsor events, events for the NBA, community events. And that's before you get to the competitions and the game itself. I don't have a problem with these guys wanting to just have fun when they're out there on the court during this. This isn't the NBA Finals. This isn't a regular season game. In fact, it's a meaningless exhibition. And why any of us are expecting anything other than that is beyond me. Kevin Durant's 100% right. We are addicted to the drama right now. And this is just another case of something we can complain about because now we have a platform to do it. That's just my opinion, but maybe it's my Southwest bias showing. On the other side, we're going to have Allan Williams, somebody who's actually participated in All-Star Saturday, give us his opinion. NASCAR returns to Phoenix Raceway March 7th through 9th. And I got to tell you, Phoenix Raceway is one of my favorite venues in the entire state to watch a sporting event. It's in the Estrella Mountains. You would, when you go out there, you don't even think there's a venue out there. When you get there, you're in awe of this racetrack. It's in the mountains. They actually have places where people can sit and put up tents and everything in the mountains overlooking the track. unbelievable place to experience a NASCAR race, and you can experience the Shriners Children 500 March 7th through 9th. You're going to see the likes of Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, and 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano. It's the best in-class fan experience for the whole family, and you won't forget it when you go out there. So get your tickets now at PhoenixRaceway.com. When I go to sporting events around town, I like to have a cold one, right? But I want to be responsible when I do it. And you know how I do that? With our friends at Waymo. They have an unbelievable ride that's luxurious, and you don't have to share it with anybody. It's an autonomous vehicle that will take you from point A to point B, and it's so easy. All you got to do is download the Waymo One app and then put in where you are, click the button, and the car's going to show up and take you where you want to go. I have never had a more comfortable experience with my own music, and I don't like dealing with other people. So I can sit in there all by myself and get where I want to go. They use the Jaguar I-Pace vehicles. They provide a consistent zero-emission experience for all riders, and it's safe. Over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience for these cars. That's enough to drive from here to the moon 80 times, although there isn't a road yet to do that. So it's just hypothetical. So download the Waymo One app and ride today. Joining us on Southwest Bias is Phoenix's own former Sun center, new dad, Big Sauce, Allan Williams. Allan, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. The new dad thing has me a little bit more tired than usual, but I'm sure you know the struggles and the beauty that comes with it. So just excited to be back on here with y'all.
Very much so. Let's just hop into it. NBA All-Star Weekend has been the talk of everything. Do you feel that it's lost its luster? Is it not as good as it used to be now?
I can remember growing up as a kid, especially the couple of times that I was here in Phoenix, getting a chance to go as a kid and as a young fan of the NBA. It was always great. It was always fun to see the best players out there competing at a fairly high level during that period of time. I think it has lost a little bit of that competitiveness, at least from the non-local people that are actually going to the events. I got to think that the events that the NBA and other brands and franchises put on during this All-Star period, whatever city it's in, is still a great time. It's still a lot of fun. You're seeing a lot of the players, but I think the on-TV product has diminished a little bit in competitiveness.
I feel like some of this may be nostalgia, right? Because when we're young, we love everything about basketball, right? But it doesn't necessarily feel like I went back and watched some, and like I'm a kid of the 90s. I know you're a 2000s kid. I feel like it's always been like 3.5 quarters of not really competitive, and then guys lock in at the end. Do you think maybe we're just solving for a problem that's always been there?
Yeah, I mean, we live in a social media age now where we're able to get instant gratification, instant. And when we get to a basketball game and it's not instant, like it's not the hardest game ever in the first, whatever, 24 minutes, 36 minutes, whatever it may be, we tend to be like, oh, it's not as good. But in reality, these are still the best basketball players on the planet. And when the game is on the line, they typically go out there and play as hard as they possibly can. I think there are some tweaks that they can possibly do to make it more competitive all the way throughout. But like you're saying, yeah, like I think there is a bit of that, like we just want it now. And so if it's not all 4 quarters, it doesn't count, I guess.
They're talking about some changes. One of them is potentially doing a one-on-one tournament that's part of All-Star Weekend. As a player, is that something that actually interests you, or does that just seem like another thing they're going to throw out there that really isn't going to be all that competitive because, there's all sorts of factors that go in it. Would you want to play in that kind of a situation?
Probably not me, because my game isn't necessarily suited for the all-time one-on-one kind of competition. But no, as a hoop junkie, as a former player in the NBA, I love seeing KD and Kyrie play a King of the Court style tournament. Now, again, all these ideas are great, but it takes player buy-in, right? And that usually means there needs to be incentives behind it, there needs to be protection behind it. But I think if you were to put that out there, there's a lot of guys in the league that think they're the best one-on-one players that would love to have a chance to go out there and mix it up a little bit. So I think that'd be something cool they could bring in for sure.
You brought up Kevin Durant, and I don't know if you saw it, but yesterday on Twitter, he had some thoughts in terms of the All-Star and fans, and he talking about how he thinks kind of fans enjoy to complain more about the NBA now than watch basketball, and that maybe they should just cancel the All-Star game. As a player, have you noticed that with the social media era, that the critiques have become more, that it just seems like fans aren't enjoying the game simply because it's more fun to just complain?
I think if you give people a platform to complain, they'll complain about anything, right? And now we're in an age where the platform is everywhere. Everybody has the ability to hashtag NBA All Star and say whatever's on their mind. And so it seems like this bombardment of disapproval and complaints going on constantly. But you got to think who you're actually playing for. You're playing for the people that aren't getting on Twitter, that are saying these things and doing this kind of stuff. You're playing for the people that love to watch the game, for the kids that come to All-Star game and see you go out there and play. And so I do think it feels like there's more, but it's simply because there's just a different platform to be able to have it. And so.
All right. You were part of the 2017 All-Star Saturday night. Derek Jones Jr. attempts to dunk over you in this with Devin Booker. What was it like to be sitting there and knowing that, A, you're going to be part of this, and B, the degree of difficulty going into this and what could potentially happen either to you or to Derek going on about this?
Yeah, actually, I don't even think we practiced this. We may have done it one time in practice because he was in the competition, but I can just kind of remember that whole All-Star weekend just being a ton of fun. Obviously, that was the one Devin won the three-point contest as well. Yeah.
Yep.
That was just, in LA, just a blast. But no, it's always scary getting out there on the court because you don't want to be the one to make airplane mode mess up when he's going for a dunk. And so there was that extra level of pressure. But I mean, he's one of the highest jumpers that I've ever seen in my life. So I had all the faith and confidence in him to go out there and execute.
Did you duck? I mean, you and Marquise Chris were the two tall guys out there. Did you feel you had to duck to be able to make sure, or were you like, hey man, you decided to try to jump over us, I'm standing tall here?
Nah, there's a natural reflex to duck, right? And like I don't care how high he jumps. I was like in my head, I got to give him a little extra down there because if you see, I had the flat top with the curls going on too, so I had a lot going on, so I had to make sure he got over me.
What is it like to be around All-Star weekend as a player? I got a chance to do it when I was an employee with the team, but what's the perspective from a player and just kind of the fun? I know it's chaotic, but what was it like?
It was a blast. It was an honor to be able to be a part of it. I was one of the members of the NBA Players Association, one of our player reps. And so I got to go to the meeting, sit down and talk about the state of the league and the future of the league. And I always took a lot of honor and joy in doing that. But also, too, just as a fan of the game, as someone who never thought he would be participating in an all-star event, never thought he'd be an NBA player at an all-star event. Like, all of these things are going through my mind and constantly just bringing me so much joy as I'm going through it. And they're moments that I'll never forget, from New Orleans to LA. Just a blast.
It's I don't think fans appreciate that this is not some paid vacation for the players when they go out there. It's a gauntlet that especially the All-Stars have to go through. Can you speak to a little bit of that you saw while you were out there and how it can be a taxing weekend, even though it's a fun weekend?
Yeah, I mean, me particularly being as someone that wasn't in events and All-Star, just kind of tagging along with Devin during his time through those events, you could just see the time commitment it takes from the first day you arrive. So after that game on Thursday or Wednesday, whatever it is, you fly in and you're automatically on the go, from press events to charity events to meeting XYZ. It's a big time commitment. And while the rest of the league gets a break where they're not doing anything, can relax, can hang out, can go on vacation, those guys that are tasked with the All-Star responsibilities have a tremendous burden of time taken up while they're there.
All right, I got to give you a hard time. This isn't All-Star related. This is personal. I don't know if you remember this, but you came after I had left, but I came back as a media member the year after, and I had jokingly tweeted during the game, I wish I had a hype man like Allan Williams that would follow me around my office. I come down to the locker room to say hi to some of the guys I know, and you shout out, "Is that Espo over there?" And I thought I was done for. I thought you were angry at me. I was like, I'm never getting back in this locker room. And you're just giving me crap about the tweet. Do you remember that? Making me think my career was over?
Nah, it didn't even sound like something I would do. I had to be doing it jokingly because I had nothing but love for you, Espo. Always, man. You've always had good things to say about me. But if you said it happened, I believe it happened. I don't really remember it though.
You let me know you were joking around after I had the heart attack, but yeah, it was fun. Well, hey,
I definitely have a voice. I definitely have a voice that can put a little fear. So I got you.
It's recognizable from across the room. I can say that for sure. Hey, let the people know what you're doing. I know you're still playing ball. You're playing overseas right now, and you're getting ready to go back now that you've had your baby. What are you up to nowadays?
Yeah, still playing basketball at a high and very competitive level. Been in Korea this past season, was in Australia the past two before that. I still got some life left in these legs, and just been really enjoying my time being a professional outside of the NBA and getting a chance to see the rest of the world. So, as you see, my people behind me getting to it, but I apologize for that. But no, just still playing basketball, trying to do as much media stuff as I possibly can. And I always follow the Suns, man. Always, I'm a huge fan of the Phoenix Suns and the work you guys do with the podcast stuff as well. So I'm a big fan.
Appreciate it. I got NBL when you played there. Did you play for the Phoenix? Was that weird to play for the Phoenix?
It was crazy how it worked out. I had a couple of offers from different teams, and then the Phoenix one came across the table, and it was almost like destiny. You know, it was just like, wow, this is a crazy thing. Being from Phoenix, playing for the Phoenix, there's a bunch of Phoenix Suns fans in Australia too. They never hesitated to show love, showed so much support. I got a lot of love for people down in Australia. The NBA is massive out there, and so it was great to be able to spread the game a little bit.
He is Allan Williams, Big Sauce, one of my favorites. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.